Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel. Welcome to bonus weather video number 2 for this week. And actually going to be doing one of these every day until this storm or potential storm really next week is out of the way. And again, just to reiterate, we will not ignore the storm on the daily weather updates by any stretch of the imagination. But if you really want the deep dive, the geek exclusive club, if you will, then this will be the place to find that. So let's go on ahead and get into this here. So we're going to take a look at the European ensemble mean upper level flow forecast every day. Now remember that when the ensemble members vary a lot, uh, and they do and have with this situation, and probably will continue to for some days to come, then the average is sort of what I call the average of extremes. That this is not what you would call a solution, it's simply an average of solutions. And so you do have to keep that in mind, that the weather map is not likely to look exactly like this, especially when you have a lot of variance among the members. So let me get my little telestrator in gear here. So we are here, and you see this little thing here where the lines bend a lot and there's a lot of spreading on the lines out ahead of it. This is the system that's coming in tonight, and it's going to give us the light rain after midnight and continuing probably into the early afternoon on Wednesday. Then, by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon, that system is right along the southeast North Carolina coast, very close to Wilmington. And as it continues to move eastward, then we should get rid of the rain and start to see maybe some clearing skies late in the day. And that'll set us up for a few really, really nice days after that. Okay, then we get to Thursday, and that system is well out at sea. And we've got a big ridge. In fact, the 500 millibar heights are above normal across most of North America. And we've also got troughiness up here over Greenland, which is terrible if you're a cold weather lover, because what we want to see is blocking up here, which forces cold air to come around the southern side of that block. And we have exactly the opposite of that. Here is the next system coming along in the southern branch of the jet stream, very potent out here off the west coast, and this is what we have to watch. Okay, so now we get to Friday, and you can see, now, if you're familiar with latitude, we're at about 36 north at RDU, and once you get down to about 30 north, then we're talking pretty far south. And where all these lines are tightly packed together in here, this is at a very, very low latitude. So these are very strong jet stream winds coming across the Pacific, plowing into Baja California, coming across Mexico and aimed for the Gulf of Mexico. And so this is definitely something to watch. Now we get to Saturday, and we're starting to see some separation of the systems here. We've got one out here, and then this is the one we're going to be watching in here. So there's an upper level low over the Texas Panhandle. We still have the big ridge here over central Canada extending down toward the Great Lakes. Okay, now we get to Sunday afternoon, and we've got several closed contours around this low. So this is a very, very well-defined upper level low, and it can't go to the north because of the block up in here, okay? Here's the block, and here's the upper level low down in here. And so at this point, you can sort of look at this as unusually warm air here, and you've got a pocket of cold air down here. And the warmer this air is, the more unique this cold air is down in here. And so that's why you have so many lines wrapped around this thing, that this is like a little island of cold air that is, out amongst itself compared to all this relatively mild air up here. Okay, now we get to Monday. So this is when we're going to get down to brass tacks here. And I've talked a lot, and I'll say it again, that the classic setup for a major winter event in North Carolina is for the northern jet stream and the southern jet stream to be separate with identifiable entities. And so up in here, we've got a trough with the northern branch, and then we've got a trough with the southern branch here, and they're out of phase. In other words, these trough axes are not lined up. So ideally, what you would hope is that this northern branch would deliver cold air down the eastern seaboard, and then the southern branch would supply the moisture, which would then overrun that cold air and produce the upward motion and the precipitation. But for whatever reason, the air that is coming around this upper level low is not all that cold. And part of it is because this ridge is so strong that there's really a lack of cold air up across Canada. And so even though this thing is trying to deliver cold air down to the eastern seaboard, it really hasn't got anything to deliver. And we talked a little bit about that in the daily weather update, that there just isn't a good source region of cold air to draw upon. And so in these types of situations, even if you get the precipitation, you've got to manufacture the cold air over you almost in place. And you can do that if the precipitation comes down hard enough, because the harder it comes down, the greater the effective evaporation at the beginning, the greater the effective melting. As snow falls into warmer air and melts, that melting process extracts heat from the air and cools it. And so if you can get it to come down hard enough, long enough, those processes are enough to modify the air mass and perhaps get it cold enough to do something in a frozen form. But this is certainly not the easy way to do it. The easy way would be to have a nice source region of cold air to draw upon, and we simply don't have that. And by the time we get to Wednesday, it is now out at sea, and it looks like we're actually going to warm up again on the heels of this system. So, again, we have no cold air coming in behind the system, no matter what it does. And so, even if we were to pull a rabbit out of our hat and get snow out of this thing, it would almost instantly disappear because there's no cold air coming in behind it. So, this is not your ideal setup. Now, the one thing I do want to mention is that this storm system is going to create a tremendous pressure gradient between high pressure to the north up here and the area of low pressure down in here. So the winds coming in along the South and North Carolina coast could really get strong as we venture on into the first 2 days of next week. And whether or not it's strong enough for beach erosion and that type of thing remains to be seen. But that's another element of this thing to keep an eye on. All right, so there are your credits. That is the latest on this potential storm. And again, I almost feel like this is hurricane season, and we're talking about a wave that just came off the coast of Africa that can't get here for 2 weeks, and yet we're talking about it. This isn't quite that far away, but it's still, 5, 6 days at least. And so as a result, a lot can change, and clearly the ensembles and the deterministic models do not have a good handle on this at this point. And so there's definitely time to watch, and we're going to need to because there's no clear answer at this point. All right, folks, that's it for now. That's bonus weather video number 2 for this week. Number 3 will be coming up tomorrow when I hope to be back at my homestead in Myrtle Beach for the first time in 2 weeks. So hopefully all that will transpire as planned. Okay, folks, you all have I hate to say good Tuesday evening because it's almost over when I'm taping this, but whatever's left, and if you're still awake, have a good one, and we'll talk to you again on Wednesday. See you later.